You are involved in an accident. You should A. Stop immediately. B. Help the injured. C. Call the police. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. If involved in an accident, you should stop your vehicle immediately. If possible, move the vehicle out of the way of traffic. Call the nearest police agency and ask for an ambulance, if necessary. Do not move the injured unnecessarily, but attempt to stop severe bleeding with direct pressure. Wait for emergency vehicles to arrive. If there are two railroad tracks next to each other. A. It is always safe to proceed after one train passes. B. You must always stop before crossing the tracks. C. When one train passes, look for another train on the other track before proceeding. D. Honk your horn as you cross the tracks. C. When one train passes, look for another train on the other track before proceeding. If there are two railroad tracks next to each other, watch for a second approaching train after one train passes. Do not begin to cross the tracks until you're sure no train is approaching from either direction on either track. If you refuse to take a test determining your blood alcohol content, BAC, you will lose your driver license for A. 90 days. B. 6 months. C. At least 1 year. D. At least 2 years. C. At least 1 year. Washington state has an implied consent law, which means that by operating a motor vehicle in the state, you have given your consent to take a breath test determining your blood alcohol content, BAC. You will lose your license for at least 1 year if you refuse to take such a test. To avoid being in a truck or bus driver's blind spot, you should A. Never pass them. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. C. Flash your lights at them. D. Sound your horn. B. Avoid driving alongside them and avoid tailgating. Because a large vehicle, such as a truck or bus, has large blind spots to its sides and rear, avoid driving alongside such a vehicle and do not tailgate one.
Want to ace your DMV test? Click on the link below and get your guaranteed cheat sheet.
If your brakes stop working, you should first A. Shift the car's transmission into neutral. B. Pump the brake pedal several times and try to build up brake pressure. C. Flash your lights at other traffic. D. Jump out of the vehicle immediately. B. Pump the brake pedal several times and try to build up brake pressure. If your brakes stop working, pump the brake pedal several times. This will often build up enough brake pressure to allow you to stop. To check your blind spot before changing lanes. A. Look into the left side mirror. B. Look into the right side mirror. C. Look into the rearview mirror. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. D. Look over your shoulder in the direction you plan to move. To check your blind spot before changing lanes, you should look over your shoulder in the direction that you plan to move. At a four-way stop. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. B. The driver to arrive last has the right of way. C. One driver should continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should wave the other drivers ahead. A. The driver to arrive first has the right of way. At four-way stops, traffic from all four directions must stop. The first vehicle to reach the intersection should move forward first. If two vehicles reach the intersection at the same time, the driver on the left yields to the driver on the right. This sign is used to warn drivers about A. Upcoming intersections. B. Road construction. C. An upcoming curve in the road. D. Changes in traffic lanes. C. An upcoming curve in the road. This sign indicates that the road ahead curves to the right. The posted speed limit shows A. Only a recommended driving speed. B. The exact speed at which you must travel to avoid a ticket. C. The maximum safe driving speed under ideal road and weather conditions. D. The maximum safe driving speed under all road conditions. C. The maximum safe driving speed under ideal road and weather conditions. A speed limit sign shows the maximum legal driving speed for the stretch of highway where it is posted. Driving safely may require you to travel more slowly than the posted limit. When conditions are less than ideal, drivers should slow down. Your first response to reduced visibility should be A. Turning on your headlights. B. Reducing your speed. C. Turning on your windshield wipers. D. Looking for road edge markings to guide you. B. Reducing your speed. Reducing your speed should be your first response to decreased visibility and dangerous road conditions. When approaching a school bus stopped with its stop arm extended, drivers should A. Come to a complete stop and wait to proceed. B. Honk their horn before passing the bus on its left. C. Continue driving when they think most kids are probably done exiting the bus. D. Pass the bus before its door opens. A. Come to a complete stop and wait to proceed. When approaching a stopped school bus that is using its stop signal, a driver is required to come to a complete stop. They should not proceed until the stop arm is withdrawn. Emergency vehicles. A. Have the right of way when using sirens, horns, and/or flashing lights. B. May use a loudspeaker to give instructions. C. May follow each other. D. All of the above. D. All of the above. You must yield the right of way to police cars, fire engines, ambulances, or any other emergency vehicles using a siren or air horn and a red or blue flashing light. Follow any instructions given over the emergency vehicle's loudspeakers. Emergency vehicles often follow each other, so you should proceed only when you are certain the way is clear. Your blind spot is the area of the road. A. You cannot see without moving your head. B. Directly behind your vehicle. C. You see in your rear view mirror. D. You see in your side mirror. A. You cannot see without moving your head. Blind spots are areas that a driver cannot see without moving their head. They can be located to the sides of and behind a vehicle. This sign means A. Winding road. B. No parking. C. Right lane closed. D. Multiple turns. A. Winding road. Warning signs prepare drivers for upcoming road conditions and hazards and are usually yellow with black markings. This sign warns drivers that they are approaching a winding road and that they should adjust their speed accordingly. At an intersection with a roundabout island, traffic circle. A. Enter at any time, whether or not there are other vehicles or pedestrians present. B. Stop in the intersection to yield to traffic entering on the right. C. Always drive around the circle to the right. D. You can drive to the left. C. Always drive around the circle to the right. Inside a roundabout, you must always drive around the circle to the right. When entering a roundabout, you must yield to traffic that is already in the circle, as well as to pedestrians and bicyclists who are crossing the road. What happens if you drink alcohol while taking prescription or over-the-counter medicine? A. The medicine reduces the effect of the alcohol. B. The alcohol will help the medicine cure a cold. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. D. There is no effect because they are different substances. C. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol or medicine. Consuming alcohol and other drugs together can increase the impairing effects of both. For example, having one drink while you are also using a cold remedy could affect you as much as several drinks would when being consumed separately from any medications. You are driving in the left lane and want to move into the right lane. You should A. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your left shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. C. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over both shoulders for other vehicles before changing lanes. D. Check your mirrors, signal, and change lanes. B. Check your mirrors, signal, and look over your right shoulder for other vehicles before changing lanes. When changing lanes, you should check your vehicle's blind spots by looking over your shoulder in the direction that you want to move. Always check your mirrors and turn on your directional signal before beginning a lane change. A driver should be extra alert to motorcyclists, bicyclists, and pedestrians because A. They're difficult to see in traffic. B. They obey different traffic laws than larger motor vehicles. C. They always have the right of way. D. They don't have rear-view mirrors. A. They're difficult to see in traffic. In many collisions with motorcycles, bicycles, and pedestrians, drivers reported that they were looking but still did not see the smaller vehicle or pedestrian. These can be more difficult to spot in traffic than passenger vehicles because they are smaller, may move faster, and have less noticeable lighting. To prevent collisions with these smaller and less protected road users, drivers should always be alert to the presence of motorcycles, bikes, and pedestrians. When driving in fog. A. Use your parking lights. B. Use your low beams. C. Use your high beams. D. It makes no difference which lights you use. B. Use your low beams. You should use low beam headlights when driving in fog, rain, or snow. A diamond-shaped sign is a A. Road hazard sign. B. Interstate route sign. C. School crossing sign. D. Speed limit sign. A. Road hazard sign. Warning signs are normally diamond-shaped and yellow, although orange warning signs are used in work areas. Such signs warn that you are approaching a hazardous location or an area where special rules apply. When you see this sign, it means A. There is an object on the roadway. B. Traffic is coming from the right. C. The road is curving sharply to the left. D. There is a merge point ahead. C. The road is curving sharply to the left. Chevron signs like this indicate that the road curves sharply in the direction indicated by the chevron, in this case, to the left. There may be several chevron signs placed throughout a curve. When the driver behind you wants to pass, you should A. Speed up. B. Go the same speed. C. Slow down to allow room in front of your vehicle for the other driver to complete the pass easily. D. Change lanes. C. Slow down to allow room in front of your vehicle for the other driver to complete the pass easily. When the driver behind you wants to pass, you should slow down so that there is enough room in front of your vehicle for the other driver to complete their pass. This will allow them to complete the passing maneuver in less time and more easily. If two drivers arrive at the same time to a four-way intersection controlled by stop signs. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. B. The driver on the left has the right of way. C. One driver may continue driving without stopping. D. One driver should honk to indicate that they are giving up the right of way. A. The driver on the right has the right of way. Yield the right of way to the driver on your right at a four-way intersection if you both arrive to the intersection at the same time. You may then proceed when it is safe to do so. This sign means A. Keep right. B. Low shoulder. C. No parking at any time. D. Lane ends. A. Keep right. Regulation signs regulate traffic speed and movement, displaying rules which drivers must obey. This regulation sign indicates that drivers should keep right to avoid an upcoming potential driving hazard. When you hear the siren or see the flashing lights of an approaching emergency vehicle, you must A. Slow down until it passes you. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. C. Motion for the emergency vehicle to pass you. D. Merge into the right lane and continue driving. B. Drive to the right side of the road and stop. Yield the right of way to any approaching emergency vehicle that is using its flashing lights or siren, regardless of its direction of travel. You must immediately drive to the right side of the road and stop until the emergency vehicle has passed. If you are within an intersection, pass through the intersection before coming to a stop on the right side of the road.